Hello everybody, it's Claire with another project for the Scrap Effects design team. Again, I'm playing in the Craft Junk Journal kit, and here I'm just extending one of these smaller pages with a little fold out extra bit. So I just used another piece of craft cardstock that I'd got and a bit of double-sided tape just to make this extra fold out area, because I wanted to use this little teacup, mad teacup silhouette that's come from Scrap Effects. And here I am using some of the Lace Sea Sunset collage paper, also from Scrap Effects, and I'm just tearing up some pieces to add onto the background, again just to start to break up that blank page and add a little bit of interest and colour to the page. So once I've decided where I'm going to pop it roughly, then I'm going to stick it in place using some gel medium. Then I'm using some of the white dots collage paper as well, kind of marrying up the page with the page on the left, although I do add some of the white dots onto the page on the left also. As you can see, I've already popped some on there. So just bringing those dots across so that the two pages kind of work a bit more together. But in any case, I'm not really bothered about that because I just like dots. I like dots and I like circles, and yeah. So next I'm going in with some clear gesso. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I was going to be using the Tim Holtz Distress crayons and going to be water activating them, and I wanted them to move, and so I figured that if I put a layer of clear gesso on there, it would kind of trap all that in place and just mean that the paper would be more ready to receive the wet media that was going to come next, because I wanted it to move around a bit. So at the minute it looks quite cloudy, but once it's dry, it does dry clear, as you can see there. So here I'm going in with the Tim Holtz Distress crayons. I'm just going to try and find the colours for you. So that pink was picked raspberry, and laying down quite a lot of the pigment and then moving it around with a wet brush. So I'm using the collage paper, the sunset one, as inspiration for the colours that I'm going to use on this background, and I'm just kind of adding those colours in different areas, just feeling where the page is balanced. So having put the clear gesso down, it does mean that these pigments move around really nicely, and they're not just kind of disappearing into the craft cardstock. So this one is Spiced Marmalade, so I'm adding a bit of this colour down and doing the same thing. So my brush is wet, but I wouldn't say it's overly wet. I didn't want to over soak the paper too much, but enough just to make the distress crayon actually move. It's really pretty. I love the way that it blended. They are just delicious to use. Look, I just don't know when to stop, do I? Ridiculous. Okay, and then I am using a candied apple. So just bringing in a touch of that red that's on the background too. Such pretty colours. And again, look, I've gone for a warm colour palette, and I know it's inspired by the collage paper, but I actually picked that one out. I did have two other ones that had cooler themes, and I just do think that because it's winter and freezing here in the UK, I'm choosing warm colours to work with. So this stencil is the Script stencil. It's one of my favourites. I really love this, and I'm just using that with a little bit of black gesso with the blending tool. This stencil is a circle border stencil, also from Scrap Effects, and this is adding some nice detail going up and down the page. So it's nice to create a little bit of movement on journal pages, and this is one way you can do it by using your stencils. So then I knew I wanted to use these two silhouettes on the page. But because I've added that black into the background, they kind of looked like they were just going to disappear. And I very much wanted them to be the focal point. So I decided I would stick them onto some craft cardstock because that kind of works well with the background that the journal is anyway, and also because it means it brings them back more as a bit of a focal point. So I stuck them on by using some PVA glue and gently sponging it onto the back of the silhouettes. They are quite fragile, but using the glue that way means that they stick down. This is a tip that somebody else gave me, so not my idea. I can't take credit for this. I'm sure it's something that lots of you do, and I've only just discovered, like it's something amazing. So then I'm going back with the circle border stencil and just adding some more stenciling in white as a contrast next to the black ones. Really pretty. They look like they're hanging down, don't they? And then using my double-sided tape gun, I'm just sticking these two focal points in place. Using a bit of glue stick as well, just to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. And now you can see that that really pops out from the page, works really well. So I wanted then to make it look like there was steam coming out the cup. So I'm just having a play with, this is actually a watercolour brush, and just playing with some of the black paint that's left and just doing some swirls and marks on the top of the teacup. Then I'm going in with a much thinner brush and just adding some darker lines in there too. Just playing really. Then I'm just going down the outside with the Posca pen and then just smudging that just so it's more of a like a highlight rather than a solid line. Also just helping to pop that out from the background. And then I'm going in with white on the paintbrush and just adding some more marks, like more steam coming out of the cup. Just kind of breaking up that black a little bit. And next I am using the Signo Uniball in white and adding a drop shadow to those letters, which also just makes them stand out a bit more. This is a really easy technique for making lettering pop out. It's something to not overthink, because then you can end up putting the shadows everywhere. Then I'm just adding some of my dots onto the page too. You notice how that has the effect of just breaking up what's already there. It just makes it look a bit less harsh. So the different size dots again with the Posca pen and then with the Signo Uniball in white. So then I'm doing the same thing down the side of the Alice silhouette and just adding some white down there and smudging it, and then something for it to stand on too. This is a piece of paper, I think it's from Collage Collective, but I'm not certain. And I'm just punching out some circles from this paper, just as a contrast colour with everything else that's going on the page, and then I'm just sticking these in place using a glue stick. It's quite fiddly, but it looks quite effective when it's finished. So equally so, you could just do some splatters using a turquoise gloss spray or even just turquoise paint. Then I'm going in with the turquoise colour Posca pen and just adding some smaller dots around those larger ones. Again, just with that contrast colour. And then finally, I am just going to add in some words using this really chunky Posca pen. Can't speak, sorry. This pen is great, although you do need to go over the lettering a few times once it's dry, just to make it really stand out. So there we go, there's the next project for the Scrap FX design team using these lovely products from Scrap FX. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.